You clicked this video because deep down, some part of you knows you don't want to wake up one day, look in the mirror, and see a stranger staring back. You don't want to face that quiet horror of realizing you lived the wrong life. But that's how it happens, not in a sudden crash. No, piece by piece, through every silent compromise, every lie you whisper to fit in, every truth you bury just to feel safe. Till one day, you open your eyes and you can't even recognize who you've become. That is not fate. That's a pattern. And Nietzsche, he saw it. Oh, he saw it plain. Behind all that rage, behind that bitter fire, was one message: you'll either learn now or you'll pay for it later. And if you're watching this, there's still time. Here's the first truth. Nobody ever taught you how to think. They only taught you how to obey. From the moment you took your first breath, they taught you to conform, raise your hand, sit still, memorize, repeat. Never once did they ask, "What do you think?" They didn't want that. They taught you what to think, and worse, they rewarded you for echoing it back. Nietzsche saw it for what it was, the death of the individual spirit, because the crowd don't want thinkers. The crowd wants agreement. And so, most people, they grow up mistaking obedience for intelligence. They master the art of mimicking success, following rules. Doing what's expected, that's what they get good at. But they lose the one thing that matters, the ability to question. And when you lose that, you don't just lose your freedom, you lose yourself. Real thinking, it's dangerous. It threatens systems. And Nietzsche, he saw it plain. A life without independent thought, that is not a life. It's a performance in someone else's story. And by the time most folks see it, they're already buried, deep, living a life they didn't choose. Second truth, most people, they want comfort more than truth. You show them the truth, they won't thank you. They'll reject you, because comfort is a drug. It's warm, it's familiar, it's safe. But truth? Truth's cold, ugly, unforgiving. Nietzsche called it out. Every error. People pretend they love truth, but all they want is reassurance. They don't want to wake up. They want to be coddled, so they cling to easy answers. Feel-good slogans, groupthink opinions, not because they're evil. No, it's fear. But the truth, don't care if you're afraid. It don't soften for your feelings. It shows you reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. And most people, Nietzsche believed, they can't handle that. So they choose ignorance, distraction, fantasy, till one day the truth smashes through their little world anyway. And by then, it's too late. The third truth. What hurts you is often what reveals you. People dodge pain like it's poison. But Nietzsche, he saw pain as a mirror, the only mirror that shows who you really are. He said to live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in that suffering. What do you fear? It shows what you cling to. What breaks you? It shows what you've ignored. What do you fight? It shows who you think you are. But most folks, they try to silence pain. They numb it, dodge it, run from it. But pain don't leave. It waits, it grows, and one day, it forces a reckoning. Nietzsche didn't believe in running from pain. He believed in walking straight into it. Because only by facing it can you become stronger than what tried to break you. And by the time most folks see that pain wasn't the enemy, they've wasted years running. Fourth truth, the crowd's rarely right, but always loud. The crowd, it's seductive. It gives you identity. It gives you purpose. It gives you certainty. You feel safe because everyone believes the same thing. But Nietzsche warned, the crowd is not wise. It's just loud. It don't think. It reacts. It don't question. It repeats. And the bigger it gets, the more dangerous it becomes. He wrote, Insanity in individuals is something rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. People realize too late. They built their lives chasing the approval of folks just as lost as they were. They didn't chase truth, they chased validation. They didn't stand for something, they blended in. And the tragedy, by the time they see the crowd was wrong, they've already traded away their soul just to belong. If you want a life that's truly yours, you're gonna have to disappoint the crowd. And most people, Nietzsche said, they is not brave enough for that till their times run out. Fifth truth, kindness without strength makes you a target. You were told, be nice, be polite, be agreeable, be generous. But Nietzsche didn't worship blind kindness. He saw the truth. Without strength, kindness turns to weakness, 'cause predators, they don't respect kindness, they exploit it. Takers, they don't stop, because you're generous. They just take more. The world, it don't reward softness, it rewards strategy. Nietzsche wrote, the weak are always forced to lie. Why? Because without strength, you can't afford honesty. You bury your needs, you hide your boundaries, you shrink your voice, all in the name of peace. But peace without power, that is not peace. That's submission. The one who's kind and strong, that person changes lives. Who's only kind, they get used, discarded, forgotten. And most, they only learn this after years of betrayal, by friends, by family, by their own selves. You've now heard 5 of Nietzsche's warnings, 5 truths that people only see when the price has already been paid. But this is just the beginning. The next 4 truths, they're darker. They'll show you why your discipline vanishes, why your own shadow keeps tearing you down, why folks cheer for you right up until you start to win. It gets more personal, more raw, and far, far more real. If you think you're ready for that, let's go. 6th truth, discipline is not motivation. It's self-respect. Most folks chase motivation like it's some magic key. They wait for the mood, for the perfect setup, for that one quote to fire them up. Nietzsche, he'd laugh at that. He saw deeper. The person who waits for motivation, they've already surrendered their power. Discipline? It is not about grind. It is not punishment. It's integrity. It's acting, even when it's hard. That is self-respect. Think on it. You brush your teeth, not because you're inspired, but because it's who you are. You guard your boundaries, not because it's easy, but because they matter. Discipline is not fueled by mood, it's rooted in meaning. When you tie your actions to how you feel in the moment, you're building a life on sand. But when you act from your values, even on the hard days, you become solid, dependable, unstoppable. Most people, they only learn this after years of broken goals, missed chances, self-betrayals. They think they've got a motivation problem, but what they really have is a respect problem. 7th truth, people support you until you threaten their identity. Everybody loves the idea of you improving as long as you don't surpass them, as long as your growth don't rock their comfort zone, their status, their story. Nietzsche, he was brutal about this. Most folks, they don't want you to fail. Not really, but they don't want you to evolve past the part they cast you in either. Why? 'Cause your growth, it forces them to face their own stagnation. Your success, it exposes their excuses. Your transformation, it shatters their balance. That's why, when you start setting boundaries, chasing ambition, speaking your truth, some won't cheer. They'll step back. They'll mock. They'll act like you've changed, like you don't fit no more. But that don't mean you're wrong. It means you finally stopped shrinking to fit their comfort. Most folks only see this after they've lost relationships they thought were forever. Relationships. They were built on a version of you, the version that never changed. But that version, it's gone. Eighth truth, your shadow will sabotage you if you ignore it. Everyone's got a shadow. The hidden self. The parts you were told to lock away. Your anger, your shame, your jealousy, your selfishness. And Nietzsche, like Jung would later say, he saw it plain. Suppressing that shadow only feeds it. The more you reject a piece of yourself, the more power it takes in the dark. It creeps into your choices. It poisons your tone. It stirs your cravings. It whispers sabotage when life's going right. It lashes out just when you're near peace. People think being good means being harmless. But Nietzsche saw the truth. Strength comes from integrating the shadow, not hidden it, because the one who knows their darkness, they don't get ruled by it. Picture it. Your shadow, like a child locked in the basement. The longer you ignore it, the louder it screams, the more it wrecks. But the moment it's seen, heard, understood, it stops being the monster. It becomes your ally. Most folks, they don't learn this till they've ruined something they loved and finally see it wasn't life that betrayed them. It was the parts of themselves they refused to face. Ninth truth, you can't think clearly if you're always trying to please everyone. One of life's most seductive traps, people pleasing. It looks kind. It feels safe. But Nietzsche, he saw it for what it is, a mask. When you put other folks' expectations above your own truth, you lose your clarity. You second-guess every word. You overthink every move. You water down your instincts till they're unrecognizable. People-pleasing ain't generosity. It's fear. Fear in disguise. Fear of rejection. Fear of conflict. Fear of being alone. But here's the tragedy. The more you please others, the less they see you. Nietzsche believed, to know yourself truly, you've got to disappoint people. Not out of cruelty, out of necessity, because your real life, it'll always clash with someone's vision of you. And most folks, they don't see this truth till they look around one day and wonder, why does no one really know me? It's because you trained them to love the act, not the truth. And when that truth finally claws its way out, the people around you, they might not recognize it, or worse, they might resent it. You've now heard 9 truths, each one a quiet scream from your future self, warning what happens if you ignore them. But we're not done. In the final 4, we go deeper. We'll face why you still feel empty, even after doing everything right. Everything right, yet still empty. Why? Because attention's replacing meaning. And Nietzsche, he saw death not as an end, but as a mirror. This final part, it won't just challenge you to think, it'll challenge you to change. Let's dive in. 10th truth, you can still feel empty after doing everything right. Retort, check the boxes. Get the degree, land the job, find the partner, stay out of trouble, and happiness. That'll follow. But Nietzsche, he saw the hollowness hidden behind all those promises. He believed doing everything right often don't lead to joy. It leads to quiet despair. Why? Because you can follow every rule they hand you and still wind up living their idea of meaning, not yours. And when you finally get there, after years of sacrifice, you expect fulfillment, but instead, you meet the haunting question, why don't I feel whole? Nietzsche warned that emptiness, it comes from mistaken structure for substance, from treading your inner truth for outer applause, from obeying expectations instead of exploring desire. Most folks see this too late. When the life they built, it's too thick, too heavy, too tangled to undo. So they numb the ache, or they burn it down and start again. But there's another way. You stop asking what should I do, and start asking not what should I do, but what's mine to do. That's the way out of the void. Not more effort, not more success, but more truth. 11th truth. Meaning is rare, and attention's a poor substitute. We live in a world hooked on being seen. Likes, views, shares. Feels like meaning, but Nietzsche would say that is not connection, it's performance. Attention is cheap. Meaning is sacred. One of the biggest mistakes, chasing attention while starving for meaning. Why do folks do it? 'Cause it's fast, it's visible, it gives feedback, but it's hollow. And when the spotlight fades, as it always does, what's left? Nietzsche believed meaning doesn't come from how many see you. It comes from what you see when you're alone, from work that matches your essence, from words that matter, even if they echo in silence. Most folks don't get this till they've had attention and still feel unknown, till they've been praised and still feel unseen. By the time they learn, they've built a persona they can't live without and lost a self they barely ever knew. 12th truth. Death doesn't steal, death clarifies. We think of death as a thief, takes time, takes people, interrupts plans. But Nietzsche, he didn't fear death, he saw it as a clarifying force, because when you remember, you will die. You remember what truly matters. He asked if you had to live this exact life over and over for eternity, would you? Most couldn't say yes. And that's the point. Death, Nietzsche taught, isn't the enemy. It's the mirror. It strips away the noise, the excuses, the delays. It asks, are you spending your time or wasting it? Are you loving deeply or just performing affection? Are you living or merely continuing? Most only wake to these questions when they've lost someone, when they face a diagnosis, when time stops being infinite and becomes a closing door. And by then, the life unlived haunts more than death itself. 13th truth. Your freedom will cost you everything that was fake. This is Nietzsche's final and perhaps most brutal truth. To be truly free, not just outwardly, but deep down, psychologically. You must destroy every illusion that kept you safe. False friendships, coping mechanisms, titles, your desperate need to be liked. Freedom, he said, is not given, it's taken. And the price? Everything that's not real, because real freedom, it's terrifying. It's standing alone in your truth. It's saying no, even when it costs you approval. It's not needing to belong, because you finally found belonging within yourself. Most folks, they flirt with freedom, dip their toes in, but when the shedding starts, when the fake begins to fall away, they panic, because the familiar, even if it's false, feels safer than the unknown. But Nietzsche believed, until you lose what isn't truly yours, you'll never find what is. And most, they only learn this after years of quiet resentment, after years of asking, why do I feel like a stranger in my own life? You've just heard 13 of the most painful and liberating truths. Truth people learn too late. Nietzsche didn't share these to shame you or scare you. He shared them to awaken you. Because every one of these truths, it's a fork in the road. Ignore them, and you drift. Live them, and you begin. Maybe you is not ready to change it all yet. That's okay. Awareness always comes before action. But if even one truth shook something loose inside you, don't let it fade. Comment below, which one hit you hardest? Which one are you still resisting? And if this video made you feel seen, subscribe. We're building a space for those who want more than surface advice. for those who want to think deeper, feel stronger, and finally, live differently. Welcome to Psychonic. You're not behind, you're just starting with the truth.